I put off 2 re-roofing jobs for long enough. With my dad's expertise, we finally got around to finishing the overdue projects. The garage roof that you see here needed to be done because it was leaking. The other roof needed to be done because even the insurance company noticed that the shingles were old. For some jobs, you could go over the top of the existing shingles, but that wasn't going to work in these cases, and it's generally not recommended. Removing shingles is really not that tough with a shingle shovel and working from the bottom up. Getting rid of the shingles is kind of a pain, and so is removing all the old nails or the staples that were left behind. This garage roof was leaking because the H-clips were not installed correctly. They were supposed to be in between the 2-foot gap of the trusses to prevent the wood from bowing. Over time, without the H-clips, the wood sheeting buckled and raised the shingles above, letting rain in. I also feel that the staples used on this roof did not hold the shingles down well enough. We ended up having to replace 5 4x8 sheets of plywood. And since it is impossible to use H-clips in some areas when you're replacing, we used 2x4s from below to prevent it from sagging in the future. We also found rotted boards on the other roof. That gave us an opportunity to add new insulation. With the wood sheeting replaced and the drip edge down on the bottom, we rolled out ice and water barrier. It's not needed in some areas, including this garage that is not heated, but it does seal off nice and creates a leak-proof barrier at the base. The plastic backing is removed, and on a hot day, once it sticks, the ice and water membrane is almost impossible to remove. So make sure to have it in the right place on top of the drip edge on the bottom. Next, we overlapped the ice and water with a fancy underlayment. Of course, tar paper has been used for forever and works well, but the main thing is to go over the lower run about 4 inches so that rain can flow downhill. It seems whenever we are laying underlayment or putting tie-vac on the side of a house, that's when the wind picks up. The recommendation for this underlayment is to use nails with caps to hold it in place. We measured from the top and marked lines so that we could place the barrier correctly to give us a guide when we were shingling so that we would come out even when we reached the peak. After we rolled out and secured everything in place, we reinstalled the drip edge on the sides. We figured with the drip edge over the underlayment, the shingles can stick to the edge. My phone died while it was recording us put down the drip edge and the starter shingles, but let's just assume that we did everything perfectly. We used starter shingles, overhanging the drip edge a ½ inch, and then it was off to the races laying down shingles. Architectural shingles are nice. They take a lot of measuring out that is needed with 3-tab. But you do still need to follow the manufacturer recommendations to cut the shingles for the proper stagger. The shingles we used needed to be cut at 6½ inch increments. We also followed the instructions on where to nail properly. Rat-a-tat-tat, just like that. with a nail gun and a good helper or two, shingles can be laid down pretty quickly.
And girl, I know it is life for keep and go and hide. I will find you as I go down. Every day is an open morning, here and now. Let the reins be broken, quiver loud, let a flower open me. The songs of new violets I sing, a single word, love, and open.
The process was slowed down when we reached the side. At this point, the shingles needed to be cut to length. They were cut to overlap the D-edge a ½ inch. That was the same overhang that we used on the opposite side when we started. Be careful when nailing near the edge. It doesn't look pretty to send a nail through the side.
You raise the cries enough for the two of us. We belong together under stars and above the world to be now. Oh, I know it'll work forever. Give me hope in the perfect morning. Give me songs of the fire and the trees. Songs of new violets I sing.
As far as roofing goes, this one was pretty simple. It had a gradual slope, no eaves, and it's an unattached garage, so it did not butt up to a wall. Not all jobs are this easy. The other roof had a steep pitch that required roof jacks, and for us to be strapped in while we worked on it. We lost a few good shoes on that roof. Removing siding and poorly installed step flashing adds a lot of time to a job. When we reinstalled step flashing, we kept gravity in mind and did not over-nail to limit the potential for water to get in. Our roofing underlayment went down and up the wall first. Next we placed flashing, then a shingle, flashing shingle, all the way to the top. Then we brought the tie-vac down and taped the tie-vac to the flashing before putting the siding back on. My dad had a good idea to number the siding to make it easier to reinstall. We had a variety of ridgecap applications based on the different situations, having a non-heated, non-insulated garage, and having a house with 2 types of insulation below. For the garage, we simply had to lay ridgecap over our last layers of shingles because no airflow was needed. We used manufactured ridgecaps and installed with 4 long nails to catch the plywood below. For the main section of the house, we had to install ridgecap vents and then place the ridgecap shingles over the top of that. For both applications, we started laying the cap on the side that is least likely to get strong prevailing wind and worked our way across the roof, nailing the ridgecap shingles towards the dominant wind. When we got to the end, I cut a ridgecap and I placed it upside down so that the shingle that goes on top of that would stick to the tar. I did end up putting 2 nails on the top of that too. After that, I came with a tube of tar to cover up the nail head. A big thank you to the project foreman. I love you, Dad. And thank you for anyone else that watched all the way to the end. You can bombard me with comments now on where we screwed up, or you can watch some camper videos. It's your choice.